In studio right now is Brian Miller. He's running for the 101st Assembly seat, which is currently being held and will be vacated by Assemblywoman Claudia Tenney. He's facing Maria Kelso from Delaware County in the primary, which is coming up on Tuesday. In full disclosure, I was hired by Brian's campaign to do radio and television commercials. For me, it's been a busy campaign season. But good morning, Brian. Thanks for coming on.
Good morning, Bill. Yes, it has been a very busy campaign season. We probably knocked on 2,000 doors plus, and we probably put about 15,000 miles on the car.
I do have to ask you, you know what district you're getting yourself into. This is what was they calling it, the lizard district, or, the punishment district? I'm not sure what you'd like to call it, but it is all the way from New Hartford down into Herkimer County, down through Otsego and Delaware, and all the way down to Orange County.
Well, it's got seven counties and 25 towns. Yes, I did know what I was getting myself into to start this. It's been a great campaign. It's been a lot of fun. I've got to see a lot of great people. I got to talk about a lot of issues.
Yeah, you've had. Let's start first of all your background. You were a town supervisor.
Well, my background: I'm a former town supervisor for 8 years. I'm a current county legislator up here in Oneida County for the last 16. I'm a fluid power engineer, former mechanical engineer. So putting all three of those disciplines together, I think gives everybody a great representative.
Yeah, and your issues, traditional Republican, gun rights, and that sort of thing. Tell us about that.
Keeping preserving the Second Amendment, mandate relief, ethics reform. Putting a cap on state spending, the traditional issues.
I would ask you about the mandates. School districts really have been put into a pinch because of these unfunded mandates. So that is when the state says you have to do this now, new regulations, and they don't they give you any advice on what to do, and by the way, no money to pay for it. Same thing is happening that you saw firsthand with municipalities.
Well, it's happening at the county level. It's happening at the school level. My wife's a president over at the Sequoia Valley School District, so when she comes home from meeting, I know firsthand on what's being done there.
Yeah, and your position is to just get rid of all unfunded mandates.
Absolutely. If a mandate's going to be passed down, what we have to do at the state level is we have to fund it. And we also have to look at the mandates that are already out there. Some of these mandates have been there for 15 years.
Yeah.
Are they still feasible? Do they still work? If not, let's take a good look at them. Let's put together a commission and get rid of them.
All right. Makes sense.
This topic came up in our last interview, term limits. So do you have an opinion on term limits? Where do you stand on that?
Well, I think there should be term limits for leadership positions. Absolutely. People talk to me about term limits all the time. I have term limits every 2 years. And I tell them, as long as I can make a difference, I want to be there. And if I can't, I'll take myself out. I'll be my own term limit guy. So that's how I feel about term limits. It's set up for two-year terms, and until there can be a group of legislators that want to change it, then we'll look at it then. But I'm not for term limits.
It's interesting. It's something that Griffo has proposed several times, and I remember being involved in the behind-the-scenes talk about that. And the difficulty you have is really finding legislators that are going to vote for it. And I think Patrick Vincent said that earlier. They're not going to. He even admitted they're not going to. If there were term limits, though, one of the issues is that you're placing somebody new in every 8 years, which is a disadvantage. So you don't get to gain the clout and the experience. Additionally, the staff remains, and what critics of term limits say is that you end up really what will happen is it's the staff that is legislating. Can you talk about that a little bit?
That's the staff is legislating.
Yeah.
The staffers know
They've
Albany
been there,
inside and out.
Right.
Okay, they are truly the Albany insiders.
Right.
I'm not an Albany insider. I come with a fresh ideas, a different perspective from the county and the towns. I don't work there. I don't really know anybody who's down there. I'm not beholden to any lobbyist groups. I come in with a fresh face. So I think.
How do you see yourself different than your opponent, Maria Kelso?
Well, with my experience, that's a big one. Coming from the town and county levels, I've got to see the dysfunction of Albany, what they do every day. And that's one way I see myself different. Another way we just talked about, I don't work in Albany. I don't know the players. I don't know the lobbyist groups. So, I'm new.
All right. And when you're doing your travels, you said you did a lot of walking, a lot of door to door, a lot of knocking on the doors. What are people saying? What are their gripes out there?
Well, they're talking about everything from feral cats to term limits to ethics reform, mandate relief. Jobs is a big one. People, the Mohawk Valley, upstate New York, has really lost population and jobs over the last 10 years.
Yeah. And your role as assemblyman would be pretty much there's two roles. First one, of course, obviously you are there to vote, and you're to vote on legislation and possibly propose legislation based on what you hear at home. The other is taking care of your constituency, and as you go door to door, you're hearing feral cats, and this person's got a problem. But talk about a little bit about how you will be and how you work through the district. It's a large district. How do you make all this work?
Well, we've talked about this in depth, with my staff we put together so far. The district is large. The way we plan on doing this is having town hall meetings, being very visible. I'm a sales engineer right now. I put 45,000 miles in my car a year. Driving 3 hours at the drop of a hat is no big deal for me. What we want to have is town hall meetings. Probably once a month. One thing I do plan on doing is when the constituents call in with concerns, I plan on making calls every day to these people to talk to them.
And I mean that you are supposed to be their conduit to getting something done. They're a conduit to Albany, I guess. So, all right, Tuesday is the primary. Final words. Why should people select Brian Miller?
Well, they should select Brian Miller because of my experience, and I want to get things done in Albany. I want to change whatever I can. We're not going to change everything. If we can pick a few key topics, let's work on them. Let's work together. Let's work this whole district. We have to get out and vote. I know that consolidation is another thing we didn't talk about. We've had 3 primaries so far this year, and people are getting primaried to death.
It's interesting, yeah. So not only do the municipalities and every township and schools and everybody talking consolidation, but the primaries alone have cost the state a lot of money,
hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So if we can get everybody out to vote on the 13th, that's really important, and I'd appreciate your vote.
People saying, I got to vote again? There's another primary? And people are confused. Which one is this? Who am I voting for in this one?
Oh.
This is your state and local Republican, and in this case, Republican primary. So that you can understand the confusion. They've got a presidential primary, a congressional primary, and now a state primary.
Well, there was a woman last night saying, we got to vote again. And I said, absolutely, and this is the most important one because I hope you'll vote for me. That's the whole thing. She goes, I'll put it on my calendar, and I'll be there.
All right, it's Tuesday, noon till 9 o'clock. Brian, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.